Well, Oggy and I, we were on this on digital at 12 o'clock Eastern time, so we must have been that good. You obviously never watched. We're back on again.
Did you watch me talking about it on digital the other day with my crew as well?
No. But, you know, this is... I mean, I know what Jan's saying. The Dele Alli scenario does show you that there are always, not always, but quite often behind-the-scenes factors that are unprecedented with players who, you know, some supporters think that, you know, players don't lack confidence, players don't go home and beat themselves up about bad performances. But, you know, and look, there could be a case of something here, but clearly it's not something that Ten Hag has suggested, right? He's not tried to butter this up any other way. You know, if it was a scenario where the player was feeling down and wasn't himself, I think he would have painted it a slightly different way at the press conference. He was pretty straightforward in what he said needed to happen. And look, the player wasn't playing well and hasn't played well before Ten Hag got to the club and hasn't really played well after he got to the club. So I don't have all the answers, but it seems to me that he needs to have a good look at himself, Jadon Sancho, that is, because your career can quickly turn, and sometimes if it turns in a really negative way, it's not as easy just to get it back on track again. It's very, very difficult sometimes, particularly when you're at a big club. And I think moving from Dortmund, big club, but expectations certainly a lot lower than Man United, that pressure takes its toll on players in a different way. And maybe he's like a lot of players that turn up at Barca and Real Madrid and Man United and Liverpool and all these other, Man City and blah, blah, blah. And they turn up, think it's going to be easy and find out that the pressure is a little bit too much for them.
So what's the feeling at Old Trafford then, Mark? Is there a feeling that he can get back to his best like we saw at Borussia Dortmund for Manchester United, or is this the beginning of the end for him at United?
I think it's over the latter, to be honest. I wouldn't say there's a feeling he can get back to his best. It's probably a hope he can, but I don't think he's shown it ever since he got there. I think from day one he arrived, he looked out of shape, and he did arrive in a bad team under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. It wasn't the best time to go there, but still, you know, he's a £73 million player, so he should have been a much better fit for United. But, you know, he's not very popular in the dressing room, I've been told. I don't think he has a lot of support from a lot of his teammates. And is that because of his performances on the pitch? Is it because of his performances on the training pitch? We don't know, but you know, I think this is not a sudden thing with Jadon Sancho. It's something that has kind of dominated his 2 years at United. But you go back to the beginning of his career, he had issues at Man City. He had issues at Borussia Dortmund when he was disciplined a couple of times. And with England as well, he was omitted from a squad by Gareth Southgate for poor timekeeping. So if Erik ten Hag has raised issues about what he feels are poor training performances, then he's right to do that. And I think, you know, Jadon Sancho will have known why he was dropped. I think, you know... The first step back for Jadon Sancho, if he wants to get back at Man United, is to delete that tweet that he's still pinned to his profile. He's not taking it down. So that suggests that right now there's not been any kind of change in his position. There won't be any change in Erik ten Hag's position, because if Ten Hag suddenly changes his position and says, oh, I was wrong, then it makes it look really weak. So the only way that this can change is Jadon Sancho changes his approach, admits he was not training to the standard set by Ten Hag, and try again. He has got a chance to come back. It's only September. And a lot can happen between now and January. But like we're saying, in the 2 seasons he's had at United so far, he hasn't really done enough to say that he's going to bounce back. You know, his career's fading already, and which is ridiculous. He's only 22, 23 years old. So
if it is a January exit, Mark, where might he go?
Well, that is another big question. He's on absolutely massive wages, you know, really big wages. He's on huge wages. He's cost a massive fee for United. So, you know, I don't see him going to Saudi Arabia. I just don't see him fitting that profile. You know, right now, the Turkish window's open until the 15th of September. I don't see him going there. So, you know, I think his options are limited. His options are probably looking at a loan deal whereby somebody might be prepared to pay some of his wages, but United will have to pay a lot of it. I don't see a team in the Premier League looking at him unless Chelsea decide that they want to carry on spending and, you know, sign a 17th attacking player. But I don't see where the options are. The only way he gets a decent option is if he gets back in the team and starts performing, and if he does that, he'll have a future at United. But it's a difficult one for Sancho. Like the guy said, like Craig was saying, when his career hits a slippery slope, it's difficult to arrest it. And you might find that the options that are open to him aren't the best options in the world. You know, 2 years ago, he's Man United's, you know, star target. You know, when you get to January, it could be looking at a club like Everton if he's not careful. And that would be a sign of how far he's fallen.
Wouldn't you be busting a gut, though, if you're Jadon Sancho? I mean, he didn't just turn up on Friday at Carrington when the bus was leaving, if it left on Friday. He didn't just turn up and go, oh, the bus has left. I'm not in the squad. As Mark said, he knew. He would have been told, because he would expect he at least be on the bench, right? So he knew what was happening. Here we have a scenario where you've got Mason Greenwood, who's at Getafe. I don't want to go into all the details, but it was shambolically handled by the club, who thought they were going to bring him back at one point until they realised that it was going to be a disaster PR for them, and rightly so. And now they have another scenario brewing with Anthony. So another player who can play like Greenwood through the middle, or certainly Greenwood can play in the middle or wide. You've got Anthony, who's got an off-the-field scenario that could get ugly. So that's another problem for Ten Hag in terms of on and off the field. You've got Garnacho and Palestri, two young guys. Garnacho come on at the weekend, was very unlucky. Wouldn't you be busting your gut if you're Sancho saying, look, these guys, I've got one out the way. There might be another one because he allegedly couldn't behave himself. And I might never get a better chance to get back in this Man United side. Because not only is Anthony not playing well, he's got these problems. Would you be...
Thanks so much for watching ESPN on YouTube. And for more sports highlights and analysis, be sure to download the ESPN app. And for premium content and live streaming, subscribe to ESPN Plus.